used to fight back. MMA, knock your nigga head like a KKK. Hush your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smoke. Me running, me running, me running really, really fast. Ginger eye on the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Oh, close, smoke, me running really, really fast. Ginger eye on the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. Are you and get turned up? No, 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 no.
Okay. Testing, testing. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. Sorry about that, everybody. How we doing today? As usual, I hope we're doing well. It is a Wednesday, and we're doing our usual Wednesday stream. Is what we're doing. Yeah, I tried to stream yesterday, but it didn't work out because my computer kept fucking up. You know, my computer just kept on shitting the bed on me, and I'm hoping and praying I got it all figured out. I got to find some wood to knock on. One moment. There, but Rusty, there should be audio now. Let me know if there's still no audio. Because there is a bit of a delay. You see, what what I think happened was I haven't done some maintenance on my computer in a little while, right? And I think there was probably just an excess of dust. I opened that thing up and it was pretty dusty, and I tried my best without using dust off or air or anything like that because I don't have any, and all the stores I went to don't have it because apparently kids like to get high off of it. And even though I've never known anybody who does that, and nowadays if dudes are doing whippets, they're just gonna buy fucking Galaxy Gas because you can buy that shit on the internet. Um, Apparently, like, a bunch of stores don't carry that shit anymore. So I got a microfiber cloth and I tried my best to kind of wipe it down, and it didn't crash for the rest of the night. It crashed twice, and then when I turned it on after the second crash, trying to troubleshoot it, it crashed again. So that's really annoying. But oh, excuse me. What is going on, Rusty Corvine? What is going on, Nuclear Snake? What is going on, Heath Holloway? Hope you guys are doing well tonight. Um, Bilal Muhammad made a video about the Strickland versus Hamzat fight, and he was huffing pure copium. Oh yeah, like I I I don't want to dive too deep into the whole like Muslim MMA fighters thing, but like the thing about Islam is that they're not known for being gracious losers or anything like that. They're known for being sore losers a lot of the time. And you might have good examples like Hamzat, the way he behaved after he lost to Strickland. That was more than respectable. Not only did he stand with Strickland, and he tried his darndest, and he didn't even do that bad of a job, you know. But after he lost, there was no like, hey man, I think I should have won, blah blah blah. He helped put the belt on Strickland. That right there is class. I actually respect Hamzat a lot more than I did before last Saturday. After not just that performance, but also the reaction to not getting what he wanted, you know. But the thing about a lot of Muslims out there is that they are not really known for being good losers. They're not known for being good at not getting what they want, you know. And unfortunately, that's something that's becoming more obvious isn't the word common. That's something that's becoming more common in the West as well, is that nobody knows how to take an L anymore. Nobody knows how to just say, hey, if I can't get this thing through hard work, dedication, and doing the right thing, um, then I guess it wasn't meant to be. People can't just do that kind of thing anymore. You know, there's always some kind of cheating or some kind of like scandalous behavior involved in a lot of different things nowadays, and it has I'm not a misanthrope in any way, shape, or form. I don't think like people deserve to die and oh dude, humanity is a disease and that's not me, but I am very comfortable with the understanding that people are just kind of trash and that there's nothing you can do about it. People are just gonna be trash, you know, and it's not getting any better. It's actually getting worse, you know. Um but yeah, the Muslims specifically, they have this thing where they can't even, a lot of the time, they can't even pretend like they're not pissed off at the fact that they lost. They have to absolutely positively make a fucking excuse for it, you know? And it's like, man, that shit's fucking annoying, you know? Of course, Ariel wants them to stay beefing. Yeah, that's the funniest thing, you know? It's like, I get it, like they said some pretty heinous shit to each other, and they even did some heinous shit to each other. Hamzat tried to kick Sean in the balls, you know? That's like, man. But, like, if two dudes are willing to put it aside, what's it your business, Mr. fucking Helwani? It's a very interesting name. I wonder where that guy's from. Fucking yeah, yeah. Ariel Helwani is always been kind of like a bastard. You know, he's always been kind of a piece of shit. You know, and he's not a bad MMA journalist. It's just that he's shitty. You know, that's all it is. And that's why he's been able to stick around is because he's not a bad MMA journalist, even if he is kind of a piece of shit, you know. But when he's being a piece of shit, it's like you want to see him get thrown into a lake, or like you want to see him get a wedgie or something like that. There's and I've talked about this quite often when it comes to a bunch of different things, and MMA is the place that I first noticed this. You have the guy who's too afraid to actually do it. So instead of doing it and trying to get a little bit of that notoriety, that clout, that glory, that whatever, the money even, uh, he decides he's going to be off in the periphery. And what he's going to do is he's going to start a podcast is what he's going to do. He's going to be an MMA podcaster is what he's going to be. And he's going to talk to all the big fighters, and he's going to break the breaking MMA news and all the hot gossip and all that other stuff. And what happens with a lot of these guys is they forget that they're just a fucking nerd sitting behind a microphone. Not like me. Not like me. I'm a Chad sitting behind a microphone, okay? So don't you fucking dare. But they forget that they're nerds sitting behind a microphone, and that they've never actually done any mixed martial arts in their life, let alone had a real fight. And because of that, they think that they're somebody important. Like there couldn't be 20 Ariel Helwanis. You could just like walk. If you walked through New York City, you'd find tons of Ariel Helwanis, and that means two things. But But jokes aside, like anybody could do what Ariel Helwani does. You know, I know of like 5 or 6 dudes just in New England that's kind of the function they serve is like they start a YouTube channel or a blog or a podcast or a this, that, the other thing where they don't actually train. Or if they do, it's like they're a hobbyist. You know, they pop in the gym once, twice a week. They would never, under any circumstances, step into the ring, even if it was just for a smoker or something like that. Um, and like now they're gonna sit there and be like, they want to be kingmakers is what it is. They want to be kingmakers, you know. And that's kind of the problem with these dudes on the regional circuit where you have dudes that start podcasts who they decide they like this person and they don't like this person, and maybe they try to talk some shit and stuff like that. And because of that, the person they like gets favorable coverage. The person they dislike gets favorable or no coverage, no matter what they're doing, ever, you know? I see that type of shit happening now. There's this one dude. I don't have like a beef with him. I mean, he wouldn't even know who I am in the first place because I've tapped out of the New England MMA scene for years now. But like, let's say I was to get back into it, me and this dude would probably cross paths, and we'd like, you know, I wouldn't have like a beef with him or anything like that. But there's this one dude who like he's just always beefing with like somebody new, and it's always a fighter. This is a dude who works for like the postal service, and then he smokes like weed and just hangs out talking about local MMA news. Very Tom Myers, very Tom Myers ish, you know, making epic 2016 Come Town podcast, Nick Mullen references here. Like he's got kind of a Tom Myers sort of thing going on where it's like, yo, everything you do is like kind of inconsequential, but you think you're a lot better than you are type of deal. You know, there's a bit of a delusion present there. But excuse me. Um Scott, if you right click the start button and go to event viewer, then system and look for red XS, it will tell you why it is crashing. And you know what? I actually forgot to do that. That was what I was in the middle of trying to do yesterday when it crashed for the third time. I literally, because I'm getting into IT type stuff, right? I'm slowly sort of just entering into that hobby and trying to make it into something that I could do for work at some point. And I learned about event viewer yesterday, and I was like, oh, well, I guess this is the perfect time to test some of those IT skills. And then I was like, wait a second, how do you get to event viewer again? Oh, fuck. And I was literally like looking it up on my phone, and then my shit crashed. And I was like, oh, you got to be fucking kidding me. So that's when I decided, okay, maybe I should, you know, clear the dust out and stuff like that. And I'm actually, I'm using Hardware Monitor to monitor my temperatures right now, and I'm actually pretty good. I'm not even up to a level you would expect if you were doing like gaming or anything like that, which is kind of surprising because I assumed it was an overheating kind of thing. But thank you for reminding me about that. Who was it? Yes, Heath. Thank you for reminding me about that, Heath. I'm gonna write that down so that I can fucking make sure that I do it later. You know, let me just I'll take a picture of it. I might as well. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. I also, what is going on here? What is going on here? Oh, what? I I got this silver piece, right? I'm not really like a stacker or anything like that, but I was able to get this silver piece yesterday because it was not yesterday, but a couple of days ago, because it was extremely undervalued. Like I saw it on eBay and nobody was betting for it. And I tested it, and it is indeed actually silver. It's not a fake. And I was like, oh, perfect. I can flip this. And some guy hits me up on Facebook, and he's like, hey, Scott, could you do it for $20? I can pick it up tomorrow. Thanks. It's like these sometimes I would never actually do this, but sometimes I want to say, "Yeah, sure, meet me at this place." And then show up and just like hit a dude with a fucking pie. Throw hit him with the clown shit. Like go to shake his hand, I have a buzzer in my hand, some Looney Tunes type shit, drop an anvil, an Acme anvil on him. It would be so nice. It would be so nice to be able to do that. But um, anywho, anywho, what's going on? Like McJagger, what's going on? Jules. For some reason, I was having a hard time reading your name. What's going on? Barnaby Jones. Hope we're all doing well tonight. But yeah, like that's the thing with someone like Ariel Helwani is that like he's a peripheral idiot, and a lot of these guys are peripheral idiots, and that's like I was talking about that on Twitter. Like I there's some things that I'm totally okay with sounding like a snob over, and mixed martial arts is one of those things because I have fighting experience. I have been training for 15 to 20 years depending on, what metric you want to utilize if you want to count like the wrestling, and even longer if you want to count the like sporadic boxing training that I did from the age of like 6 or 7 all the way up till now, right? Um like I know this is what I know. This is like dudes that they get into cars from a young age and that's all they do and that's all they care about. It's like if you try to talk cars with that guy and you say something stupid, he's rightfully going to be like, no, that's incorrect, man, And it's like I realized like there's so many MMA personalities out there that are dudes that just don't train and they don't even know what they're looking at. And like I kind of made a tweet about that. I was like, what do these guys talk about during their streams? Like, do they just comment on the fight gear, the fight kits? Oh, that Reebok fight kit sure looks good, you know? It's like how are these dudes able to say anything worthwhile? And I realized later on the reason why is because most people simply don't know what they're talking about. They don't know like what they're even looking at. So because of that, like to them it's just vibes. Like I don't have a good vibe, I have a bad vibe. I know what I'm talking about, but my vibe is not the kind of thing that like pulls normies in or stats bros in. I'm not one of those guys. I'm the kind of guy where you'll be sitting here thinking, dog, guy hit other guy, and I'll be able to explain to you. And the thing is, like, most people simply either aren't interested or they legit have no, like, they can't understand it when you're explaining it to them. Like me, I'm a snob about it for sure, but it's not for nothing. It's not for no reason. I've dedicated my life to this. Um, and there's a lot of people out there who they're kind of like tourists almost, they're MMA tourists, and you can have dudes that have been doing it for decades like Ariel Helwani is, and he can still be a fucking tourist because he is a tourist. um I train with a Caucasus Muslim that is a very skilled fighter and excellent dude, but there was an Afghani Muslim at Nate's gym that is the absolute worst. And you know what? I think that's probably part of the reason why is that like these Caucasus Muslims, like they're essentially like mountain Russian Muslims is practically what they are. I know they're a different ethnic group than Russians, but like they're practically like Slavic Muslims is what they are. And because of that, they're going to be a little bit different from say like an Arabic Muslim or a North African Muslim. There's a lot of things, whether people want to admit it or not, there's a lot of things that exist in cultures all around the world that are pre-Islamic or pre-Christian or pre whatever. And I don't know, like maybe it's just because I am of European descent, excuse me, but like I don't notice nearly as much shit. Or maybe I think it's a little bit more complicated than what I was about to boil it down to, but I think it's a combination of pre-Islamic practices as well as the way Islam preaches that Muslims are like God's chosen people and things like that. Which, you know, interestingly enough, you see some of the same stuff from a certain other desert religion that exists out there. But the bottom line is with these Muslims, like they are loud and proud about it in a way that a lot of other religions are not. And they aren't even willing to like kind of play along in the way that a lot of other religions are. And because of that, you see like a lot of these Afghani, these Pakistani, these other like groups of Muslims who they're just like awful to deal with. They're just like terrible. You don't want to be around them type shit, you know? Um, I don't think it's a coincidence that like I've known some Lebanese Muslims, right, that are actually pretty cool. I don't think that's a coincidence because Lebanon for a long time was a Christian nation. Same thing with not Dagestan and Chechnya, but they were under the Soviet Union, which while it was not a Christian nation necessarily, the Soviet Union was at one point the Russian Empire, which also had them underneath it, which was a Christian empire, right? Like the only Muslims that seem to not be as bad on that level are the ones that were subjugated under Christianity, and I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that's probably a feature, you know, not a fluke, you know. What's going on? What's going on, Gigo? What's going on? My eyes are going. My eyes are going. What's going on, Gigu NH? Hope you're doing well. What's going on, Neon? It's been a minute since I've seen you here, sir. Hope you're doing well. Free Chud, exactly. That was one thing I was going to talk about. That is one thing that I was going to talk about today. You know, Marketplace will turn you into a misanthrope. No, no joke. Scott should train with Alex B and make him dangerous, bro. I would train with Alex B. I would train with Alex B. That'd be so much fun. That'd be a good time. That'd be a gay old time. A gay old time is what it would be. But fuck, what was I gonna say? What else was I gonna say? What's going on, Peach Boy? Hope you're doing well. Somebody fucking. Oh, Marketplace will turn you into misanthrope. Oh yeah, it definitely will. You know. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I can be the same way that a lot of people are. Like, I will hit somebody up with like a bit of a haughty attitude, trying to see if I can bully them into giving me a better price. You know, it's one of those. It's one of those bamboozling versus getting bamboozled things. It's one of those can take it, can dish it out, but can't take it things. You know, and the thing is, like me, like I know I'm being a bastard is the thing. I know I'm being a piece of shit and I'm not doing it from a personal place. I'm not doing it because I genuinely believe I'm better than somebody or that I deserve to be able to bully people. I'm only doing it because it's utilitarian. It benefits me in that moment. I don't even really feel good about it. Truthfully, having to negotiate with people, I get like an icky feeling. I feel it in my chest, in my back. I'm like, ugh, you know. I am so averse to having to fucking argue with strangers and shit like that. It's like I would literally rather go from 0 to 100 where we're like fucking throwing hands with each other. It's easier for me to fist fight a stranger than it is for me to be like, no, I can't do 30. It's 35 or nothing, man. Sorry. Like it's literally easier for me to do that. But a lot of these people out there are just like straight scumbags. They're just pieces of shit is what they are. They're the worst, you know? And it's so frustrating dealing with someone who you know he thinks he's the shit and he thinks he's better than you and he thinks he's going to talk you out of this thing. And he's gonna get it and he's gonna walk off into the sunset because you're lesser than him. It's so frustrating dealing with someone like that. It makes me, like I said, I want to tell him, yeah, sure, let's meet up tomorrow, and then bring the seltzer bottle, you know, bring the flower that shoots water, bring the whoopee cushion is what I want to do to these people, you know. It's like, fuck. I had a dude, right? Before I talk about Chud the Builder, don't you worry, Neon. Hold your horses. Keep your pants on. Actually, no, take them off. Take them off. Um, we're going to talk about him in a second, but I had a dude leave me a bad review on Facebook Marketplace, even though he didn't buy anything from me, right? And it was for another silver thing. It was for like some actual like silverware that I found, right? Uh, I've picked up the hobby. I've always had this hobby, but I'm really getting into it lately of antiques and flipping antiques and collecting coins and stuff like that, right? But I found some silverware that is actual silver. And this dude wanted to get it for this dude wanted to buy it from me. I say, "Yeah, sure." He's like, "Okay, I'll meet up with you tomorrow at this time." He ghosts me. And like I'm like, "Yo, dude, like why'd you ghost me, bro? I was ready to go. Like, do you still want this stuff?" And he started talking shit to me. And I was like, wow, that's fucked up. So I didn't report him to Facebook. I left a bad review because apparently you don't have to buy something from somebody to leave a bad review or just a review in general. Eventually, after enough messages are exchanged, Facebook gives you the option to rate the other person. So I left this dude a bad rating and then blocked him thinking it would make it so that he can't leave any kind of rating on me. No, it turns out he could. And his review said that I sell fake silver. So I had to report that. I'm still waiting for them to take that down, and it's like, holy fucking shit, and this dude just gets to get away with it because everything is bureaucratized today. There's no justice because justice would mean somebody would have to get off their ass to press a button. Ooh, huh. Can't be asked to do that, no sir. But anyway, I can't believe Sean Strickland opened a portal to Agartha after that fight. I know that was insane to see in the that was insane to see in the what's it called, the octagon, the octagon, the octagon. But anyway, yeah, Chud the Builder. I've avoided talking too much about this guy because I don't think I don't think it's something that I need to talk about. It's like, I think it was Saturday, somebody was like, thoughts on Israel, and it's like, who cares about what my thoughts on Israel are? Like, I have nine concurrent viewers on YouTube right now. You think my thoughts on Israel matter that much? If I tell you my thoughts on Israel, is that going to get me tons more viewers? No. And if this person's out there, I'm not trying to be an asshole to you specifically. But what it is a lot of people out there, they have this thing where they low key try to police other people's thoughts, where it's like, oh, this person, I'm aware of this person. I need to know their thoughts on Israel so that I can either tell them they're based and then move on and never pay attention to them again because I got what I wanted, or that they're a cuck, they're a red-pilled Zio cuck is what a blue-pilled Zio cuck is what they are. They're a Zionist cuck is what they are. Like, there's a lot of people out there just like fucked up that way. They're just broken that way, But yeah, it's so fucking annoying to like have to deal with people who are like that. Again, not trying to shit on the one person who did that to me on Saturday. Oh, and I have six now. I have 6 concurrent viewers according to YouTube Studio. So, even talking about Israel was not beneficial for me. The shills, the bot accounts that Netanyahu sends to my channel, they left as soon as I started talking about Israel. So I shouldn't talk about it, actually. But jokes aside, when it comes to Chud the Builder, I don't think I was somebody that really needed to like weigh in on that completely and totally, right? But obviously something has happened today. Apparently, Chud got into a fight with somebody where he, in self-defense, had to shoot the guy. And I heard it was a black dude, but not that it matters that much, but it kind of does matter that much. And I'll explain why. But obviously, that's a tragedy. You don't ever want people to die like that necessarily. But I mean, if it's self-defense, it's self-defense, and it's going to be hard to argue in a court where there's going to be a sympathetic jury. The defense is going to have to make really, really sure to pack that jury with as many chuds as possible if they're going to actually get this guy off. Because regardless of what he says, regardless of the things that he says, to a point, right? To a point, um, I mean, calling someone a slur is not grounds for like assaulting somebody else, you know? And when I say to a point, what I mean is if somebody says, I'm going to kick your ass and they start coming towards me, or if somebody like DMs me on Twitter or Instagram and says, I'm going to kill you or I'm going to beat you up or something like that, the next time I see them, I'm going to assume a fight has commenced just because I've seen them, right? That's a situation where it's understandable to me, even if the law says otherwise. Like me personally, I'm not telling you you should do this, but there's some places where by law that would qualify as well. You know, it really depends on where you are. But um, at the end of the day, racial slurs do not beget violence no matter what slurs they are. And that's an issue that black people have had for a long time that I've talked about on Twitter. Like now would be a good time. Now would be a good time for them to kind of let that one go, to just release it and let it just say, all right, whatever, I'm not getting up in arms about this, because Gen Z doesn't care and Gen A cares even less. Chud the Builder, what's that dude? Like he looks like he's maybe 22, 23, I would guess. Either that or he's closer to my age, which means he's just like a very young millennial, right? Not young, but like in terms of talking about the generations, he is one of the younger millennials that exists, which I'm practically Gen Z. Like I have a lot more in common with like somebody born in 2001 than I do somebody born in 1981 even, you know? It's like a weird thing to think about. Like people born from like 1990 to 1996 or 7, they're in that weird in between phase. But the bottom line is like people. That's really annoying. It's almost 8:30 p.m. and there's like garbage trucks driving down your street. That's annoying. But anyway, what I'm saying is a lot of people he's 28. Yeah. So he's like the old millennial, the old Gen Z. He's like an older Gen Z, right? It's only going to get worse from there. So it's a situation where like either a lot of people are going to get hurt and die, and it's not going to be the people that you think it's going to be. It's not going to be the people who you think it's going to be. It's going to be more Chud the Builders killing more random fucking people who decide they want to be some kind of like racial crusader for black people, whether they are black or if they're white, and they're just trying to like prove that they're one of the good ones or something like that. I would say this is one of, let it go. Just let that word go, right? Um, I don't even condone what Chud the Builder was doing, and I'm gonna explain that in a second. But like, I mean, now would be a good time because Gen Z doesn't care and Gen A cares even less. And I don't know what's gonna be after Gen A, but I have a feeling they're gonna care even less than Gen A does. And boy, is that gonna be crazy, you know? So it's a situation where like the more kicking and screaming happens, the more bad things are going to happen. You know, like the worse it's going to get, the more kicking and screaming takes place. So you should probably just let it go is what you should do. You should probably just chill out, let it go, and move on as amicably as you can. But that's the issue, is that a lot of the time it's got nothing to do with even feeling hurt or attacked or anything like that. What it is that you want to protect what you believe is the super special club that you're in by right of being born with melanin in your skin is really what it is, you know. But like that's not even what I want to talk about 100%. The bottom line is like it's needless murder. It's needless death. I won't call it murder because I believe it was probably self-defense from Chud. But It's needless death. And I mean, do we want more of that or do we want less of that? You know? Oh man. Um Scott should read us a story. I should. I've actually considered getting into narration or audible books and stuff like that. Audible audio books, reading audiobooks and stuff like that. I've actually considered that. I know I have a good voice for that kind of thing. But um you see, I didn't 100% expect to be talking about Chud the Builder today. So I like, even though I know how I feel about him, I'm doing that thing again where I can't really organize my thoughts, and I want to make sure that I come out as coherent to you guys, you know? Overall, like, it's a word and it does not beget violence, and I believe that it was probably self-defense on the part of Chud. You can talk about, like, oh, well, you don't get to provoke. It's like, no, you do get to provoke. You get to be as provocative as you want to be. As long as you're not threatening people, as long as you're not violating the rights of somebody else, you are totally allowed to do that. Now, you can look at certain laws that are in place, whether you agree or disagree that those laws exist, or whether you agree or disagree that they're good laws and that they should exist, is what I should say. Like, at the end of the day, words do not beget violence in that way, you know? It will probably be tough for the defense attorney to argue successfully that that was self-defense, because we know that there are a lot of people out there who they're not concerned with justice. They're not concerned with what's correct, what's fair. They're concerned with, like, whether or not they're going to get called racist or something like that, you know? And I mean, hey, we'll see what happens there. It literally didn't even happen 24 hours ago. We'll see what happens when the trial takes place, and we'll see if this blows up, because this has the potential to blow up. But you know, like, we'll see what happens, you know? We'll we'll see what happens. Bottom line, when it comes down to what's going on, Jake LaMountain, Jake La MTN, talking about Chud the Builder here is what's going on. Do a ASMR of you being the most stereotypical Bostonian ever. Hey kid, you got a fucking cigarette I could bum, bro? Bro, you got a, hey kid, you got a cigarette, dude? You got a square I could bum, dude? Ah, you fucking cocksucker. I know you got him. I know you fucking got him. You just don't want to give me one, dude. You piece of shit. Fuck you. All the cigarettes I fucking let you have, bro, that time I took you to your doctor's appointment, to your fucking lawyer's, to your lawyer's appointment, dude. Fuck you, kid. And then the shit. Anyway, he shouldn't follow or menace anyone doing that, but yeah. And like, I know you guys get what I'm trying to say about that aspect. I'm having a hard time getting it out, though, and I apologize for that. Like I said, I didn't expect to talk about Chud the Builder today, so I'm kind of dropping the ball here. But when it comes to the Chud the Builder situation, okay, I never really agreed with what he did. Was it a little bit entertaining to see a clip every now and again? Yeah, it was entertaining, and it was like, whoa, that's crazy. He's really doing that, haha. But overall, when it comes down to it, regardless of what political message you want to try and attach to it, he's going around in public kind of chimping out, you know? He's going out in public and he is definitely looking for these situations to put himself into, excuse me. And I think it doesn't serve anyone politically to be doing that kind of thing. Now, I do have something that I will say later, right? Or you see, it frustrates me so much. The way my brain works, right? This is why I tend to talk the way that I do, where I go from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. My brain is always making connections. That's why I'm very good at a lot of different things that have to do with, like, recognizing patterns and being able to find the best way to like deal with a person or a situation. When I get going, I really get going. But the thing is, a lot of the time my brain is just throwing information at me. It's just bang, 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 just one thing after another, after another, after another. And that's why sometimes, like, you can see this on PKA. I get asked a question that I wasn't 100% prepared for, and I wanted to say something, and I was like, that's what was happening in my brain right then. So I apologize that I'm having such a hard time talking about this. I'm going to take it from the top because that always helps. That always helps, right? When it comes to the Chud the Builder situation, okay? He shot somebody in self-defense. I believe it was probably self-defense, given the context of what we do know and what tends to happen with Chud the Builder. I've never seen Chud the Builder be the one to try and throw the first punch. Not that that is even necessarily what self-defense always entails, but it's hard for you to be called the aggressor when you're not throwing the first punch. It's just kind of how everybody really understands that. But when it comes to Chud the Builder, it is going to be a tough one because it's going to be tough to find a jury that is sympathetic. I think the best they could hope for is probably a hung jury. That's probably the best they could hope for, and that's a pretty lofty goal. That's kind of a pipe dream, right? So this guy, there's a very good chance he's not going to be walking free a year or two from now. And whether you feel that's fortunate or unfortunate, I'm just pointing to what the reality is. It's always a tragedy when somebody has to die, even justifiably, right? Even if somebody is justified in their death. It's like I've kind of tried my best to take up the standpoint or the opinion that like, oh, any death is kind of a tragedy on one level or another. Even if it's just like, man, I know this guy has to die. He's a murderer. He's a pedophile. He's a this or a that. And, he's getting the death penalty because of what he did. It's like, man, it's a shame that that guy had to be that way to put himself in the situation. It would have been better if we could have just avoided all this, right? I'm saying this to say that, like, look, I'm not going to dance on the grave of some dude who thought he was tough and tried to start a fight with a dude who has a gun. That's not what I'm going to do. At the end of the day, Chud the Builder may have been within his right to defend himself. However, I never really was big on the whole Chud the Builder thing. I would see every now and again something that I might find funny or entertaining, but I never really watched his stuff. And then in addition to that, it like funny and entertaining, the entertainment value was that it was like a dude who was doing something so outrageous, it was like insane. It was like, whoa, is this really happening? Wow, that's crazy. Damn, he just said that sort of thing. I don't think it really benefits anybody to have somebody who is walking around in public trying to be like an edgy N-word guy. I understand that there's people who have different opinions about it with like, oh, well, they attack us for saying it. What's worse, getting attacked or saying it? Or, chimp out is like the word that a lot of people utilize. I've never said anything like that in my life. Okay. No, never. Me, never. Not once. Definitely not twice. Definitely. Totally not. But, these people point to some patterns that exist in the world that are very real. And they say, look, what's worse, this guy saying that word or this pattern that exists? And I mean, maybe there's a conversation to be had there, but in the overt and in the now, it doesn't benefit anybody to be walking around chimping out, to use the word that a lot of people use. And that is in effect what someone like Chud the Builder was doing. A lot of people were pointing out as though you needed to be like a fucking gypsy with a crystal ball to see this, but eventually something was going to happen and somebody was going to get hurt. And it was not Chud the Builder. It was the guy who tried to attack Chud the Builder. And well, here we are now. You know, it's a situation where somebody who could have potentially built something for himself and his people, and tried his best to do something that was a little bit more tangibly good, his life is now probably ruined. His life is probably ruined now, you know? And it's unfortunate that anybody's life would have to be ruined. But I mean, you know, that is what it is. Like I said, the smarty pantses with their future seeing powers, with their it's not telepathy, it's their premonitions, their prophet like premonitions talking about, yeah, somebody's gonna get hurt. It's like, yeah, obviously somebody was gonna fucking get hurt. What do you think this is? You know? Um I think that there is a happy medium to be had because we no longer live in a world where um we no longer live in a world where the guy who speaks softly but carries a big stick is respected. You know, that's a boomer thing. Now, if you don't want to be fucked with, you have to have a bit of an edge to you, and I don't mean like in like yelling racial slurs edge. I mean like a I'll fuck you up kind of edge, and that's something that a lot of people who are aware of me, all like 200 of them, when I talk about that, when I display that edge, when I display that propensity to getting buck in order to make sure that I don't get fucked with, that I don't get hurt by some teenager wearing a shiesty who woke up this morning deciding he wants to try and hurt a white boy. A lot of people take that as me just trying to be like a tough guy, like trying to talk a big game and be Mr. Tough Guy, but it's not. It's the fact that I have that nerve, that willingness and that ability to really try to break somebody's face in half, because I'm not going to let this dude try and put hands on me or my wife or my friends or whoever I happen to be with. I'm not going to allow that, you know? You need to have that edge. That edge needs to exist, but it's a different kind of edge. It's an action. It's actionable edge. It's not verbal edge. It's not, "Hey, do you support free speech?" that's that's not the kind of edge you need to have. You should carry yourself with a dignity, with an understanding of um well, dignity, but also respect, also a love and a care for the people around you. I think you should make sure to try to be as respectful and as polite and as courteous as possible. But you also don't have to be a pushover, because that's what a lot of boomers really mean when they talk about like speak softly and carry a big stick. Is what they mean is you're a pushover that tells yourself you could still win a fight. You're the kind of guy who will let someone sucker punch you and then try to like come back from that deficit after you get sucker punched, which that's not the way that works, you know? Boomers don't have a real understanding of what a fight is. Boomers don't have a real understanding of what it is to grow up in a war zone, you know? I was actually thinking just today that it's been 20 years since my hometown became a war zone. And I don't think this is just because I started growing up. I think it's because there really was a shift around 2006, 2007 in my hometown, where it went from mostly white, very peaceful, very, very relaxed, not a whole lot of people. It was a decently sized town, but it was a mostly homogenous, like relaxed, not a whole lot of bad shit happens here kind of town, to an explosion of crime and almost said gang activity and drugs. We have fentanyl now, you know. I could go outside of my parents' house right now and walk around in the woods that for the first 12 years of my life, I was like playing around in with my friends, and now there's a bunch of used needles just in those woods that, like, because of that I couldn't go in there, right? uh, I could, like, if I lived in the same town that I grew up in and I had kids here, they wouldn't be able to have the same experiences that I had because of that, right? um like I'm illustrating this because boomers moved into these towns when they were nice, and they just watched them go to shit. Meanwhile, their children were going to the schools that were going to shit. When you have a house in a town that is going to shit, you can at the very least go into the house and ignore the shit. You can be like, "Ah, oh, this town ain't what it used to be, blah blah blah," and then you can sit in your armchair and you can watch TV and just zone out of that. But your children, when they go to school, they're going to school in a war zone. And those are the kinds of environments that a lot of people from my generation, as well as Gen Z and Gen A, grew up in. And that's why Gen Z and Gen A don't give a fuck. That's why it took somebody who was barely Gen Z, but still Gen Z, to be Chud the Builder, is because he grew up probably in a similar environment that I did, you know? And if you're going to survive in that environment and not constantly be the white boy that gets bullied by the blacks, you're going to have to develop an edge. And that's actually why I saw this on Twitter the other day. Somebody hit the nail on the head pretty well. That's why you see wiggers who talk black. That's why you see wiggers who are like there's this one video of a chick, she's trying like some kind of weird like slop bowl. I would assume it's Atlanta because a lot of white people who live in Atlanta talk this way. She's like, "Hey yo, what kind of bowl that? Fire." She called it, she tried to say it was fire. She was like, "Fire." You know, it's like that's a defense mechanism because if they spoke the way that they probably should speak, if they spoke in a more eloquent or a more educated or just a less ghetto way, they would be targeted a lot more. At the very least, if you try to blend in, if you try to pretend you're black, maybe there will be like the nice black people in the neighborhood who are like, "Ah, yeah, he a white boy, but he alright though, he alright," you know? Yeah, hey yo, white boy, hey, come over here, hey yo, hey, you want to go smoke this blunt? Like, that's a defense mechanism, you know. You got two choices. You can either become that environment, or you can stay above that environment. You can be a man in the ruins. You can be a man among the ruins. You can ride the tiger, and you can develop an edge where the people that might want to fuck with you, they don't, because they know, okay, that guy's a little bit more trouble than he's worth. That guy will fight and he might win. And even if he doesn't win, even if I do win, even if my boys win, it's going to be a tough one. And I don't know, I might come away with one less ear, you know, shit like that. What I'm trying to say, it took me like 5 tries to get it out, is that you shouldn't go out of your way to debase yourself in the name of either free speech or trying to like make a point politically or something like that. Because even if you make the point, you're still debasing yourself. You should keep your dignity intact, and you should try your best to be the best representation of not just yourself, but also your ideals and your people that you can be. You should try your best to be as good as you can be while also not being a fucking pushover, you know? And I feel that that's where Chud the Builder went wrong. For one thing, he's a Twitch, excuse me, he's a kick streamer. Excuse me. He's a kick streamer, right? Who, he's just, he's trying to make content. He's trying to make money via content is what he's trying to do, you know? So don't forget that. This guy is an e-celeb, and he's an e-celeb first. He's going to do whatever he thinks is going to get him money, is what's going to happen. Okay, let's be honest here. But you know, I mean, you just got to be careful. You know, you just got to be careful. Scott, isn't it a bit hypocritical to point out people using a less common way of speech when English itself is inherently dumbed down Latin lineage, which most languages are based from? What do you want me to call you, like a smarty pants, Bailey? Is that what you want? You want a pat on the head? Hey, smarty pants. Oh, you're right. You're right. Every language is just another language that went through a metamorphosis because another language was introduced, or there was a certain dialect, or there was a certain what's it called? Fucking accent. It's like fucking, yeah. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I don't agree with Chud's content, although sometimes it's amusing, but I support him in the case, even though he had it coming for sure. Oh yeah, like nah, I want to see that dude walk just for the fact that self defense is self defense, regardless of who is involved. But the unfortunate reality is we live in 2026 and leftists still control a lot of the major institutions. They're losing the culture war, but the culture war is almost peripheral to them at this point because they own the institutions. We need to continue trying to whittle away at the institutions to see who we can kick out and who we can put in, so that when something like this happens, the judge isn't going to have like a gag order put on Chud and then like that every like order every 6 hours they have to do a full cavity search with no lube, like that's that's what we need, is to kick out the bad actors and put in good actors. That's what we need. That's what we need. Um, I think people don't understand what he did. It's Mo was. Ask random people, do you support free speech? They say yes. Then he says, I can say the N word. That's it. Wasn't screaming and raging people. That's all he was doing. Did that for a week. Then every person knew who he was from TikTok. Then just raged on him anywhere in public. Did he really only do it for a week? Because if it was just like a week of him doing that, and then he's like, okay, that's enough of that. Why don't we move on? And I don't want to be that guy. Well, then, I mean, it's still like a situation where it's like, okay, maybe you got to be careful. But yeah, like give me the rundown. Give me the rundown, Neon, since you know more than me. Give me the rundown so I know exactly what's going on here. I still stand by what I was saying. Like you got to be careful of what you're doing and how you're doing it, you know? Yes, he's only been streaming this dude's only been streaming for 3 weeks. Wow, okay. Damn. Damn. You know? Fucking fuck. I was gonna say something else. Um fuck. Damn it. I was gonna say something else. Fuck, dude. That makes me so mad that I'm forgetting what I was about to say. Um man. But yeah, bottom line, like you gotta be careful about what you're doing and how you're doing it to like try and maintain. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I was gonna tell you my philosophy on the N word. This is my philosophy on the N word, ladies and gentlemen. Um, I don't say the N word all the time, right? In fact, I've never said it in my life. Actually, I've never said it in my life. So there. But jokes aside, like I'm not running around saying the N word all the time, and I don't get up in arms about it, whether it's somebody who's saying it or if it's like somebody trying to gatekeep it or anything like that. I am not someone who's gonna like. I'm not gonna degrade myself by doing that, because it's not that it's like there's a history and black people will be mad and stuff like that, but there are people in my life who happen to be black that I do care about, and there is a trust and a bond built up between us. And I know there's a good chance that if I'm running around, especially in public, like yelling that word to the heavens or anything like that, not saying that's exactly what Chud did, but I'm just saying as an example, that trust might be broken, and that there might be a wound that forms between me and that person that I do care about, and my love for that person or those people supersedes any kind of like culture war, like we should be allowed to say it, blah blah blah. Like my love and my care for those people is more important to me than me being able to say a word so that I can make like somebody somewhere happy or mad. However, that's really it. It's not that I'm sitting here like, oh, but black people will be mad at me. I don't care about black people. I care about people that I know and love. I don't care about a group of people. like that. They don't, it's inconsequential to me. Now, if there's one thing I won't accept, it's when a black person has that kind of, hey, I beat your white ass. I'll beat your white ass. You, hey, you want to say that? I beat your white ass. Like, I'm not going to accept that kind of thing. It's one of those situations, and I talked about this with Joaquin Buckley. If you think you're going to use some kind of like, I'm going to intimidate the white boy thing, it's like, no, you're not going to intimidate me. And the fact that you're telling me I can't, it puts me in a situation where it's like, I don't know, maybe I should. You're not going to keep me from doing something under threat of violence, because for one thing, I'm probably better at violence than you. So you're not going to make me be like, "Oh man, this guy who's only ever fought on a basketball court, this this guy who's never had a day of fight training in his life, he said he's going to kick my ass. Oh man, I better be careful. You're not going to get me to do that, you know?" Fucking, but then in addition to that, it's like, no, I'm not gonna know my place. I'm not gonna get in my place for you. That's not the way that's gonna work. You know, if you think you're gonna keep me from doing or saying something under threat of violence, I'm probably gonna get violent with you. That's, you're bringing that on yourself. You know, um, so that's kind of the way that I see it, is like holistically, right? If I could pull all of the disjointed opinions and thoughts that I've been vomiting onto you guys about this, because like I said, I was wholly unprepared for this to be the day that Chud the Builder is involved in a shooting, right? Um I hope Chud the Builder is found innocent, because the way it seems right now, it probably was legitimately self-defense, you know? Um I don't agree with going around in public, whether it's for a political cause or I'm a streamer and I'm looking for the clip cause or anything like that. I don't think it's a good idea to be going around being as inflammatory as you can be, even again, even if it's under the guise of, hey, do you believe in free speech? Oh, well, I guess you don't, because you don't want me to say the N word. Even if it's that, I don't think that's the best use of your time. I think there's better things that you could do, better ways that you could spend your time, and better ways that you can get a political point across, right? Um, and overall, like, I'm not someone who's going to sit there and be intimidated. I'm not someone who's going to sit here and allow somebody to try and punk me and get away with that. That's not the case, you know? And if I was black people, truthfully, I would pick now to be a good time to let that one go, to stop getting up in arms about it. Because, like I said, Gen Z doesn't care. Gen A cares even less. And the people you think are going to get hurt over this, they're not going to be the ones getting hurt. It's going to be a lot of situations like Chud the Builder, where it's the black dude who thought he was going to ride for his race ends up getting fucking shot. Because Chud the Builder, say what you want about him, the guy's no dummy. He knew to expect that. He knew that something like that might end up happening sometime, so he carried a fucking gun with him, you know? Um, but yeah, I guess that would be my thoughts, my opinions, which are objectively correct about Chud the Builder in that way, you know? His first stream was in March. Damn, that's crazy. That's fucking insane. Yeah, but he was doing the same shit before he started streaming on video and posting it. Ah, okay. So he was a long-time content creator. He just didn't start streaming. He had one video he posted a few months ago. Oh, so that maybe that was the thing in March then. Maybe that was the thing in March. The one from Walmart. Yeah, he 100% knew this was going to happen. Oh yeah, of course, you know. It's it's like that's one of those, like, white people have a naivete that has been not built into them, but it's been forced into them. It's been injected into them like Thorazine, you know? And a lot of people, they don't understand the way the world works in general, but they especially don't understand the way a fight works, you know? And you can't talk somebody down if they want to hurt you. That's just the bottom line. The best thing you can do is just be ready to see them and take whatever precautions you need to take to make sure that it's not you going away in the body bag. That's it, you know? oh, excuse me. There's no like Barney, like Teletubbies. Hey, why don't we just talk it out? No, no. That was never gonna be a talk it out situation. That was never gonna be a talk it out situation. You know, and the funniest thing too, right? I thought about this like when I first started seeing Chud the Builder around. The funniest thing about it too, right, is that he could have been absolutely positively fucking owned by any black person at any time if instead of them turning to criminal behavior when they saw him, whether he said it in front of them or not, they were just like, hey man, that's really offensive and that hurts a lot of people's feelings. I don't think it's okay for you to say stuff like that. I wish you would stop that. If they had just had like a, wow, dude, that's crazy. I wasn't doing anything to you. That really hurts my feelings. Why would you do that? Why would you say that? Yeah, sure, all right, I get it. I get it. I get it. Free speech. You got your free speech. You're allowed to say it, dude, but like you're kind of ruining the vibe, man. Like I wanted to like you, bro. Like now I feel like you and we can't like dude, like fuck man, why would you do that? Like if one person, if one black person had just had that response, it would have blown him the fuck out. He would have been blown out. He would have been like an Arby's sandwich, an Arby's roast beef sandwich is how bad he would have been blown out. That is what would have happened. But nobody thought it might be a good idea to use their words a little bit more fluently, a little bit better, a little bit better. Nobody thought it might be a good idea to be like, yo, dude, like I get it, free speech. I love free speech, but man, like that hurts, dude. That hurts. And that's part of that whole like what I was talking about with the whole know your place whitey thing. And that's the problem with the discourse surrounding that situation is that like it was never really about hurt feelings. It was never about oppression. It was never about anything like that. Actually, I was wrong. It was about oppression, but it wasn't about like whites oppressing blacks. It was about blacks trying their best to oppress whites and have no-go zones verbally, no-go zones mentally that they were not allowed to inhabit. And if they did, well, then there would be a threat of violence behind it, you know? Um, and I mean, hey, it's like I said, now would be a good time to abandon that standpoint. It would be a good time to dismantle that weapon that they think they have because it ain't working, you know? The Soviets just dropped the Tsar bomb. If you watch his streams, he would do 6 to 7 hours a day in downtown Nash. He would like have 10 to 1 people wanting selfies and thanking him. That's so fucking funny. That's actually really funny. Local N-word guy becomes a hero. Local N-word hero. It's like holy fuck. He did have a scenario like that when he met one of the people from an altercation prior to. I mean, but that's the thing. It's like an altercation prior to. It's like the first thing that guy did was want to throw hands. And then the next time he sees him, he's like, oh, excuse me. I cannot believe that racism still exists. I figured in the year of 2026 we had grown past that, but unfortunately, it seems as though my people will never be free. It's like no, that doesn't work. It would have had to be the first time. It would have had to be a dude who especially if it was like a hood motherfucker, like a YN motherfucker sitting there like, hey yo man, like nah, I get it, like you got your free speech and shit, but like yo dude, like I felt like we could have been friends. Now I don't feel like we could be friends, bro. Like shit, why you gotta do that, man? Fuck, like that hurts me, man. That hurts me. Damn, bro. Like it would have been funny. It would have been almost funny to see that, especially if it was the YN, specifically if it was the YN. Like that Chappelle skit with where he plays Lil Jon. Where he switches from yeah, okay to like educated, like, fucking intellectual type shit, you know? That shit was funny. I want to see if this pussy got back to me. Again, that dude's like, "Hi, would you take 20 bucks for the coin? I can pick it up tomorrow." I was like, "Nope, 40." And he leaves me on red. So just to be kind of an asshole, I was like, "You coming tomorrow?" He just saw it too. He just opened up the thing. Anyway, uh True was a good guy who had a gun, but nothing happened. Then they met randomly in Nashville, and Chud and the guy kind of became friends. Oh, 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 a hood guy. A hood guy. Ah, I see. I see. He shot a old head too. Damn, he shot an old dude. Ouch. He had tons of blacks saying they don't care about the words. Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing too, is that like a lot of people simply don't care. That's one thing I've noticed, is that like it's typically people who are insecure. It's like cracker, if I'm being honest with you. Like if somebody in public was calling me a cracker, right? I'd probably take offense to that and I might want to fight about it. But like eh, that's because they're purposefully trying to go out of their way to get at me. Like, the word cracker doesn't hurt that bad. It's the fact that they're trying to get at me over it, right? I bet if he called those people the N word, yeah, they'd probably be like, yo, what the fuck is your problem, bro? But just the word in general, they probably don't care about. And I don't care about cracker because at the end of the day, like, fucking, like, I'm secure in myself. I don't need to fight every time somebody says something that I find to be like a little bit offensive. I can just look at someone and be like, "Yeah, whatever. Fuck it." I might even think they're an okay person independent of that thing, or I might just straight up not give a fuck in that moment. I am AI bot. Scott and just pay what? He deleted it. He deleted it. Bottom line, the breakout IRL streamer streaming everyone associates with him started in mid April 2026 on Kick. Okay. No exact first stream ever date is pinned on his posts, but that's when it exploded. I see. Okay. Okay. I see. I see. Chud is mogging in his stretcher photo. Is there a stretcher photo of Chud? Is there a stretcher photo of Chud? Like what I want to see, and there's no way we could watch this on a stream, but what I want to see is the clip. I'm surprised. I mean, honestly, it's probably a good thing. It's probably a good thing nobody did, but I'm surprised nobody clipped the moment where he ended up having to shoot the guy. Or maybe it was off stream. Maybe it was off stream. I don't know. Maybe he turned the stream off and then it happened. Who knows? But I'm curious about a clip. It's probably a good thing that there's not a clip, because you don't like, we saw what happened with George Floyd. We saw what happened with Ahmaud Arbery. Like those are situations where even in the clip you can tell that it's not what everybody's trying to sell it as, but it's one of those like a lie repeated enough times kind of situations. And you don't want the clip that a bunch of raging leftists will try their best to you don't want the clip that a lot of raging leftists will try their best to manipulate and lie about. You'd rather there not be a clip, so that it's literally just words on paper and that's it. you know that's what you would rather have. It was streaming, but no one could get it quick enough yet. Shows him getting attacked, then the phone goes flying, and then you probably just hear psh, psh, psh. Scott, you should use the app he was doing, pump.fun. Yeah, and like I talked to somebody a while ago who they were looking for debaters for pump.fun. And as I am a master debater, I actually threw my hat into that, but like it just never materialized. It just never happened. I don't know, like maybe I should use pump.fun or something like that. At this point, who gives a shit? I'll try anything. I'll try anything, you know, including IRL streaming, IRL N-word streaming. Oh shit, Chud was just charged with animal cruelty. How? For what? Are they saying he killed his dog? Because it wouldn't surprise me if they tried to be like, he killed his fucking dog and then said it was other people who tried to kill his dog, you know? It's it's pretty interesting setup. Yeah, I'm waiting to see that, you know. I'm gonna we're gonna have to wait and see that. I need a fucking haircut, dude. I also need hair plugs. Is what I need. I need hair plugs. I'm probably gonna get hair plugs when I go to Brazil later on. Like no lie. And I'm not gonna tell anybody. I'll fall off for like a week or a month, and then I'll come back, and my hairline will be down to like here again. You know. Anyway, um, man, but yeah, it's a crazy situation, you know, crazy people. Oh, a friend sent me that joke. Oh, I see. Haha. Um, it's a pretty interesting setup. He got a Cybertruck in a week, IRL. Seems like a good deal. Why does Pump Fun pay? Does Pump Fun pay people? Do they have like a payout system? That'd be nice. If they do, I'll have to hit up that lady and be like, "Hey, get me a debate with anybody, somebody, anybody." I'm being an ass. I'm not even being an asshole to this guy. He just said, you know, I was being an asshole. I was like, you coming tomorrow just to be a dickhead? And he's like, not for 40, sorry. And I was like, well, 20 is insultingly low. 40 is under spot price for silver. You're lucky to be getting that offer. Basically, just like trying to grind him into the deal. Like, yo, dude, like, take this because somebody else like this thing, right? I'm not like crazy about silver, but I've learned a little bit about it as time goes on. This thing could probably sell for between like 50 and 70, you know? Like there's a numismatic value, which, you know, is to say there's a coin collector value. There is a little bit of a, I don't know if you can see it very well, but there is a little bit of a, you know, there's some scuff marks. I'm not a big fan of the scuff marks, you know, but um like something like this, the right person will pay like more than spot for it, and way more than spot, you know? Especially if I was to get it slabbed, but because of those scuff marks, I don't think it would be a good idea to get the thing slabbed. Um it's like people are such fucking dickheads, you know? People are fucking idiots. Anyway, I've been watching Chud for 2 weeks, been wondering when it was going to happen, and was surprised it was today. Yeah, you know, I would have expected he had like another week or two. You know, the thing is, if he was able to make it into June, nothing probably would have happened. I would assume nothing would have happened because the internet and the world would have moved on by then. You know, um, but hey, I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? I turned like $50 into 500 on his coin. I'm right. Hair plugs for everybody in the chat. Hell yeah. That's what I need. That's what I fucking need. Frank Hassel says he is in stable condition after being shot by Chud. That'd be the funniest fucking thing. That'd be the funniest thing, you know. That's that's one thing that I found really kind of like pathetic. There's that dude Trev who like he was like a crypto bro type of dude, and he also was like an N-word guy. And he was like he tried to fuck with Chud the Builder because he thought it would get his he thought it would get his clout up. And it's like, yo, like you fucking that's just sad, dude. You were famous like a year and a half ago. Not even like famous a year and a half ago. You were like sort of well known on Twitter a year and a half ago, and you know, now you're like, "Oh shit, nobody cares about me anymore." Oh no. Supposedly, Chud was told to lie low for a while because of his restaurant incident and that people were hunting him. And the next day, this happened. Oh yeah, what does lie low even mean? Stay in the house 24 hours a day? It's like, no, you gotta fucking leave the house sometime. Plus, they killed his dog yesterday or today. Yeah, and that's another thing. Fucking, it's you know, talking about race relations, this is something that I'm not the first to point it out. But it's funny how like you have a situation like Ruby Ridge, which occurred over a shotgun barrel that was like an inch or two too small, according to the federal regulations. Then you have a situation like Waco with the Branch Davidians, where they burned down the compound with women and children in it, allegedly. Um, and it was over automatic weapons that weren't even automatic, to my understanding, or they were, but they were federally compliant automatic weapons. Like there was no crime committed. If you're white, that type of thing will happen, but you can be black and you can be posting to like Trayvon the Lurch. At Trayvon the Lurch on Instagram goes live, and he's got a switch. He's got shit that would absolutely positively get you shot if you were walking around and you were white. The cops would show up. There wouldn't even be a put it down, put the gun down. It'd be, oh shit. They would turn you to Swiss cheese. But you can be black and you can walk around broad day pointing that shit at people, and it's totally fine. It's totally fine. It's a-okay. I know that the federales, they started questioning Chud in jail when he got taken in for the restaurant situation, and it's like, but are they gonna do any investigating over the dead dog thing? Are they gonna do anything to ensure that he doesn't get fucking murdered by anybody? No, of course not. They're just gonna let the dog die, and they're gonna be like, whatever. Makes you wonder about some aspects of history. Makes you wonder. Oh yeah, you know what? I forgot that was part of it too. Neon. I forgot that was part of it. He was literally at court. He was like either showed up or just got out of court. I forgot about that part. You're right. But yeah, this is why you got to take care of yourself. This is why you got to watch out for yourself, because like you can't guarantee that the police are going to do the right thing. There's a good chance that like after you get jumped by like a group of black teenagers, the cops are going to show up and they'll like try to arrest you because you defended yourself. You got to know how to fight so that you can fight off the threat, and then you got to know how to run so you can get the hell out of there, because just because the cops show up, that doesn't mean you're safe. The cops aren't there to protect you. They never were, but especially not nowadays. They'll protect the criminal before they protect you. And that's something that I've been talking about is like, look, if you ever get into a fight, like don't call the police. Like don't call the police unless you absolutely have to. Like that's a situation where it's like it varies, but like in 90% of the situations you get into a fight with somebody, don't call the police. Get the hell out of there. If the police have something to say to you, they know where you live. They'll find you and they'll show up to your place. And if they really have something to say to you, they won't even knock. They'll just kick your door in. Don't fucking wait for them to show up so that they can make a judgment call in the moment, and they're like, all right, well, I don't want to be called racist, so I'm gonna arrest the white boy. It's insane. Excuse me. But yeah, fucking wired headphones. You gotta. There's a video. I meant to share this to Twitter to the like 20 people that still read my tweets. There's a video by a guy named Armchair Violence, and I'm gonna pull this up. This guy, I'm pretty sure, is a shit lib, but the way that he talks about fighting, his understanding of concepts, and his ability to share them is exactly mine. Like this dude and I on so many opinions and so many things, on so many things, This dude and I are one to one. We are like there. The Venn diagram is a circle, you know. And this guy, actually going to arrest the guy that got attacked. We're going to arrest the guy that got assaulted, actually, is what we're going to do, you know? And it's like, fucking A. Oh, really? Oh, you know what it is? You know what it is? Hold up. Hold up. You know what it is? All right, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. Sorry about that. Whenever I unplug my microphone, I have to reset the thing up. I have to set the thing up again every time. What I was saying is like this dude, this video right here, you need to watch this video, okay? Why almost all self-defense advice is wrong. It is a very good video. There are a lot of things that you can learn from here, and it instills in you what is actually a very good mindset for when it comes to being out in the world and you find yourself in a dangerous situation or environment, you know? And then I would also add to this, in addition to this, I would add that one of the things you should probably never do is call the police unless you absolutely positively have to. There is some factor that makes it so that that is the right choice. But I would assume calling the police and waiting for the authorities is probably almost always the wrong idea. And because of that, your default mode is no, I ain't telling nobody, because the police, they might not get there in time. What if the guy you just beat up, what if he runs to his friends and they all come and they decide they want to hurt you, whether it's they want to beat you up or if they want to shoot you or stab you or some other worse thing like that, right? And you're sitting here like, golly gee, I sure hope the police get here soon. Oh gee, it's Tyrone, the guy I just beat up. Oh no, and he's got buddies. Like, you don't want that kind of situation. And then like I said, a lot of the time the police, like, a lot of policing is not actually by the book. A lot of policing is actually judgment calls made by the officers based off of either A, what they think is the right thing in the moment, or B, usually what they want to do in the moment and what they were told to do given whoever is passing down orders from on high, you know? And that's why when I was doing activism, we had a lot of cops who they would sit there and be like, Trump 2020, yeah, well, yeah, Trump 2020, let's get him for another 4 years. And then they would surround us and try and inhibit our movement and try and get us to remove masks and hand over IDs and stuff like that. Because those guys are fucking losers who they think one way, but when it comes time, they don't actually stand on their principles, you know? They want to just be like, hey guys, you know, we're on your side. Why don't you just give us your information so that we know where you live so that we can harass you in the future? You know, hey, we're MAGA too. We're MAGA too, guys. Come on, give us your info so we can harass you in the future. It Policing is not objective. Policing is subjective every single time. You know, every single time you get pulled over, the cop has decided he's going to give you a ticket or not give you a ticket. Every ticket you've ever gotten, it's because the cop decided he wanted to give you a ticket there. You know, he could have decided, hey, I'm going to let you off with a warning. Now get out of here. But he didn't, because he decided, you know, I want to give this guy a ticket. Um, Excuse me, fucking food stuck in my teeth. And there's plenty of other situations where it's the same fucking thing, you know? Happened when you pulled up the video. Yeah, I figured. He looks like Paul Dano. I don't know who Paul Dano is. I'm curious now though. He does. Holy shit, he does. Oof. Oof. Ouch. Oof. Ooh. Ah. Ouch. Damn. Damn, bro. Damn. Anyway, man, I got a half hour before I head on out of here. You know? Oh, there we go. But yeah. It's frustrating having the kind of intellect that I have because I'm very analytical. I'm very good at breaking things down to the nitty gritty and understanding them on an almost metaphysical level. But the way my mind works, it's like a beehive, and there's just fucking bees buzzing around constantly, and I'm constantly making connections to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And it can be tough to stay on one topic, and it can be tough to stay on one point, and it can also be tough to make a point without all of the things that might be hypothetically toxic to that point running into my head. And I'm such a particular person that I want to make sure that I leave allowances for someone who is like, well, what about this thing? You know? That's why, like, I was talking about a fact, if you want to call it that, I was talking about a fact with the PKA guys, right? And I had a hard time getting that fact out. The fact is, from a certain range, you would rather get shot than stabbed. You would rather, if somebody was standing right in front of you, 3 to 5 feet away, or 3 or less feet away, depending on what kind of gun they utilize, what kind of caliber they utilize, you would rather get shot than stabbed, because the bullet is more likely to pass straight through you without any tumble. So even though you're going to be damaged, the damage is not actually going to be that bad. But when you get stabbed once, and then it cuts you the second time when it comes out. That's something a lot of people don't realize, is when you get stabbed, what happens is your skin, your flesh actually vacuum seals on the knife. Sometimes knives get stuck in people's bodies, you know? Like the seal is so like fucking like it's that strong that somebody tries to pull the knife out and it just doesn't even work. Their hand slips off. But when somebody gets stabbed, that flesh whoosh, seals around the knife, and then when you pull it out, there's more damage that gets done when you're pulling it out, right? And then in addition to that, you get shot. That's one, and then maybe 2 or 3 or however many. When you get stabbed, you could get stabbed at a bunch of different angles, a lot more than you would get shot, right? There's a bunch of different aspects to it. There's a bunch of different like pieces to it that can make it better or worse in a situation. But like overall, you would rather get shot from like 3 feet away than stabbed. And I was making that point, and I was like, oh man, I'm talking to a guy right now who basically popularized GunTube. Like, fuck. What if he says, no, I disagree? Oh, shit. Then I'm going to look stupid, because people trust FPS Russia to know more about guns than they do Scott Sullivan MMA. So I'm going to look really fucking dumb if he doesn't agree with me right now. So because of that, I was like, it sounds retarded, but like, you'd rather not get shot. You'd rather get shot. Like, that's why that happened, is because sometimes I get a little bit too in my head about whether or not somebody's going to agree. And in that situation, it's like, okay, I understand. It's understandable, because you want FPS Russia to be like, yes, you're right about that. You want somebody who people consider to be an expert to vindicate you, right? But then when it comes to like the random idiot on the internet, it's like I probably shouldn't care that much to be that specific and to be that open to them being like, "Well, what about?" Because a lot of the time people like that, it's it's one of those situations where they can't understand hypotheticals because they're just too much of a fucking idiot. Excuse me. Like like when you're talking to a woman, you can tell how smart a woman is by saying most women are shorter than men. And if they respond, well, I know somebody who's taller than most men, or well, I know a girl that's 5'11", or I'm pretty tall for a girl. If they can't think outside of themselves to entertain a hypothetical, they're probably not worth listening to in the first place. It just sucks. It just sucks to have to deal with people like that. It's annoying to deal with people like that. I think one of the worst kind of influencers or like e-boys or like just, online personalities is probably the best way to describe me. Although I do like e-boy. I do like e-boy. Um all right, got to take off. Some of us got to work in life and not be a fancy big time streamer. Peace out, Neon. It's good to see you. Good to see you. What was I saying? Oh yeah, but like one of the worst one of the worst types of those guys to be is to be the guy in my situation, because a lot of the people who are going to talk shit, they don't get drowned out by the people who are not going to talk shit, who they're going to be like, "Great video, bud." You know? That's the worst thing. So you see a lot of like, "Actually, no. I know a girl who's 7 feet tall, so you're wrong about that one." Like it's so annoying to have to see that constantly, and unfortunately, most of the world is that. Um, Scott, I don't know you to be a car guy, but what is your opinion of the Ford Maverick? If you have an opinion, I don't even know what a Ford Maverick is. I'm sick of Fords though, you know. For the last year and a half or so, I have had nothing but car problems. It's just been one problem after another, after another, after another. I got to get like a Toyota or another more reliable vehicle is what I got to get. My car's in the shop. I have a pickup right now. It's a Ford pickup, and I have to say I do enjoy pickups. It's a Ford Ranger is what I have. And it's nice. I like it a lot. And I'm thinking about maybe getting a pickup, but the thing is, I have a pickup at the worst time to have one because gas is so fucking expensive. Every time I go get gas, it's just more and more expensive by like 30 to 50 cents, sometimes more. And it's like, holy fuck, guys. Let's take it easy here. Let's take it easy. Ford is garbage and always has been. I mean, I grew up with Fords, and I liked them, but I'm not I'm probably not going to own another Ford in my lifetime if everything goes right. I'll probably go with like something else, something foreign made that is known for being a little bit more reliable. I've got a 96 Ranger. Damn, good for you for having a car that's 30 years old. Like that's one thing that a lot of people have been ringing the bell about, blowing the whistle about, is like now everything in your car has to be computerized. And you can't just start the thing up and it's all analog. No, no, no. It's got to have a computer on it, an onboard computer. And it's like, yeah, I'm kind of, excuse me, jeez, I'm kind of. It would be nice to have a car that doesn't have to have an onboard computer but still has like some things like USB, which like you would need a computer to have like the USB. Like the thing is though, like if you were to get like let's say you got a white Ford Bronco. Let's say you got a white Ford Bronco, the original version, right? And you slapped like a new sound system in it. Like that's not the same as like onboard computer that tells you your seatbelt is unbuckled, or onboard computer that is able to control how fast or slow you go, or other shit like that. Get you a Chevy, a Chevy 2500 Haas. You got soft hands, liberal. Oh boy, oh boy, man. I gotta see something here. I you know what I hate when you floss when you know what I hate is when you floss the hell out of a tooth, right? And you're like, "Oh, I think I got everything out of it." And then like 20 to 30 minutes later, maybe an hour later, you're like, "Did I though?" I don't know. It feels like something could be in there. And you can't tell if it's just that your gums are raw because you flossed so much, or if there's actually something in there. So now I'm just like, oh man, I don't know, man. Jeez. I have I'm jumping from topic to topic right now. I have so many people who just want to fucking trauma dump on me, and I'm kind of not trying to fucking deal with that shit. Like honestly, like sometimes I ask somebody, "Hey, what's going on?" and I expect like bullet points, and instead they're like, it's a lot. We should get on a call." And it's like, why did you think I wanted to get on a call with you talking about that? Why did you think I wanted a quick rundown through text. You could have even sent some voice messages. That's fine. Why do you think I want to get on a call with you and spend 30 to 45 minutes minimum listening to you tell me all about, like, and then he said, and then I said, and then he said, and then I said, and then I asked this person and they said, and then that person did this, and then he said, and I did this, and like why would you think I want to do that? I talk to my wife about shit like that. Some of you guys need wives and husbands, is what you guys need. You need husbands and wives is what you need. You know, the only person I listen to is my wife, and that's it. And even then, I'm like, holy fuck, because my wife, like, God bless her, but like a lot of the time she's talking about shit that is kind of inconsequential. Yeah, you know, a lot of the time she's talking about shit, and she talks a little bit too long sometimes. Like this is a personal pet peeve of mine. When I can't just have somebody say something, they have to keep on talking like 2 to 3 words too long. It's like um this cup right here, right? This cup is sitting on my computer table. If I wanted some if I was in the other room and I wanted one of you guys to grab this cup for me off of the computer table, I might say, "Hey, there's a glass cup on the computer table. Could you grab it for me?" It doesn't need to be anything else. But a lot of people, they do this thing where they're like, "Hey, there's a glass cup on the computer table. The black one in the room over there, it's the glass one. Could you get that for me? The one that's on top of the computer table, it's next to the computer. That's where the computer table is where the computer is." Like they can't just make it a simple request. They can't describe something, or like describing the cup. It's got a curved figure hourglass. You're sitting here, um and you say, "Yes, this glass cup with the hourglass figure," right? Instead of just saying that, you say, "Yes, this glass cup with the hourglass figure shaped much like those things that you used to turn over and the sand would come down." Like, people who are too overly descriptive, or they just say a little bit too much all the time, it's like, dude, like, get out of here. And it sucks when it's somebody that you care about, because it's like, yo, dude, like, I care about you, and I want you to feel comfortable telling me stuff, but it's like, I'm not like, you want to talk to me about something that happened 5 years ago because you're not over it. You don't even talk to that person anymore. You haven't talked to that person in forever, and you and they have moved on. Why do you like, what, you need closure? Like, trust me, I'm the kind of person, I like closure too, but I recognize when I'm not going to get closure. and when I just need to move on and cut my losses. That's what I'm doing with my MMA coach right now. Is I know there's no reason to ever talk to him about anything ever, no matter what. The guy actually finally offered to let me take over the gym. I'm telling him no. Fuck that. Get out of my face. I don't want that. You know, you spoiled it. I'm 31 years old. You should have offered me that when I was 26. You should have went through with it when I was 26, when I wasn't in a situation where I was like, "Oh fuck, I need to have kids pronto. I need to have kids stat. I can't be taking on a business right this second. No, no, no. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna have kids." Fucking, but I know there's no reason to talk to this guy about it. I'm better off just leaving that and him in the past and just being like, whatever, bro. But you got a lot of sensitive young 30-something fucking men, and it's like, dude, you're in your 30s and you need closure still. Like, dude, stop. Like, and you're like, you're straight up like not leaving it alone. It's like you hit me up one day, and then like a couple days later, you're like, "Hey, I'm ready to do that if you want," and I'm like, "Nah, I can't do it today, man." "Oh, that's okay." And then you hit me up again like next week, like, "Hey, I might be able to do it tonight." Like you're not, fuck, you're not leaving it alone in any way. It's like, dude, why, dude? Why do you want to burden me with this? You're burdening me. That's what you're doing. Like, I burden you guys with my shit. I don't burden people in real life with my shit because this is meaningless. It doesn't matter, you know? But like, I'm not gonna go to like my boss and be like, "Yeah, I'm having issues with where I live right now because, I couldn't find a place in time, and also my in-laws are fucking assholes." And like, I almost smacked the fuck out of my brother-in-law the other day, if I'm being honest with you, you know? He was just so disrespectful. He insinuated he was going to throw some of my belongings away, and he tried to give me attitude. And I was like, "Shut the fuck up." I got like vicious with him for a second, and I had to walk off because I really was going to fucking bounce this dude's head off the ground like a basketball. And I hit up my wife, and I was like, "You need to tell him how close he came to getting really, really fucking hurt." You know? It's like, holy fuck, man. It's so fucking annoying dealing with people who are like emotionally stunted and they can't keep it to themselves, you know? Scott, with your skill set, is there a point you would stop yourself from fighting, like where you would hold back? Yeah, like I was talking about with my in-law. The dude's a Napoleon complex motherfucker. The dude's like 5'2". Literally, my wife is 5'3". He's shorter than my wife. And he's got like a very like typhoid Mary kind of build, almost like he got sick with like tuberculosis or something when he was a kid, and it stunted his growth. Like he's not like short, but like, no, he's just like a spoiled brat piece of shit. Like, never had to work for anything in his life, isn't trying to do anything with his life. He thinks he's got the world figured out. He's got a cocky attitude. The dude's like 23 years old. And like, if I did put hands on him, I wouldn't have balled a fist and like hit him. I would have seriously broke his skull. My size and my training compared to his, like, forget about it. I would have smacked the fuck out of him. I would have put his ass on the ground, and I would have pop, 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 pop. That's what I would have done. Yeah, like, I would definitely hold myself back. I'm also like, I'm just tired of people right now. I feel like everybody is like, I feel like I can't escape people, to the point where even like the group chat that I'm in with the guys that I play video games with, like, I'm getting texts from that group chat, and it's just the guys laughing and joking around, and I like look at it and I'm like, fucking shit, stop lighting up, you stupid phone. Like, I'm just I've done too much for too many people for too long is my issue. And I need to like limit my availability to other people. I'm not even saying about like the guys that I play video games with. I'm not even saying that. There's nothing wrong with what they're doing. We're all just laughing and joking and having fun and like, just shooting the shit about what's going on with ourselves. I'm not even mad at them. It's just there's too much There's too many things going on my phone. There's too many things going on in real life. There's too many people who think I'm here to listen to them complain about something that happened a decade ago, you know? There's too many people that think I'm here to like help them set up for blood games and then be like, "Oh no. It's not happening. Sorry, bros." you know? It's like fucking A. Anyway, any advice about turning 30? That's a tough one. 31 isn't exactly like that far off from 30. So maybe when I'm like 33 to 35, I'll have a little bit more time, a little bit more energy. Not time and energy, excuse me. I'm still thinking about all the shit that like is pissing me off from the last year or so. is is That's why I'm talking about time and energy. But um like maybe when I'm 33 to 35, I'll have more of a frame of reference to be like, hey, but if there's one thing I can tell you, it's just turn 30 gracefully, okay? Don't try to, you're probably going to go through a quarter life crisis. Try to avoid going through one of those, but, if you have to, try to make it a healthy one. Try and make it like, oh, I'm getting into a new hobby, type of shit. And understand that you're an unk now and you're not going to be a cool adult. Like that's something I told my brother, right? I have a brother, he's 29, he's going to be turning 30 in about a month and a half to 2 months actually. Um and I told him, like, one of the revelations I had that I had to come to terms with was that I'm not a cool adult, and there's no such thing as a cool adult. And you're not going to cool adult your way out of things, or you're not going to cool adult your way into getting kids to listen to you. You have to be an authority figure. You have to be authoritative. It doesn't mean you can't be fun to be around and, like, okay. It means that, like, if you're trying to be the cool adult, you're just gonna come off as a fucking lame-o, you know? And people are gonna think you're gay. People are gonna be like, oh boy, that fucking guy. Don't try and be cool adult. It's not gonna work that way. Just accept that you're not a young adult anymore. You're just an adult. And you're like, kids will look up to you. People will look up to you, younger people. Um but like when you try to do the hello fellow children kind of thing, it's like, no, that's not gonna help. That's not gonna work. Um, Scott, what are your go-to top 3 phrases you say when you see the red that lets the other person know this is their last moments on Earth? It's usually some kind of like horny phrase. I usually say something like I'm bricked up, something like that. Man. Yeah. Oh, and whatever this is something that I'm just realizing I could tell you right now, Saint Tweak. As you get older, 30 is not like the hard line. But as you get older, more and more people are going to rely on you. And there's reasons for this. For one thing, you probably have a little bit more experience in whatever you're trying to do. Also, because you're older, whether it's true or not, people are going to assume you have your shit together a little bit better, unless you're absolutely like just a fucking mess, like a visible, audible, olfactory mess. People are going to assume there is a respectability to you and that you can be trusted with certain things just on the merit of you not being 22 years old, right? Um, be very careful. Protect your peace is a therapy bullshit word or phrase is what it is. And I hate the people that utilize that shit because what it means every time is shirk any and all responsibility and be as selfish as you possibly can be. But without it meaning that therapy type bullshit, you need to protect your peace to a certain degree. You are going to take on certain things that you might think are a good thing at the time, but They might not be. And if you see them not being a good thing, make sure you're able to get out of there, or make sure you're able to say no in the first place so that you don't take that thing on, so that you don't take on the baggage or the responsibility or the whatever, the fallout of whatever goes right or wrong. Make sure you're very careful not to allow yourself to be taken advantage of that way, because there are people who will outright take advantage of you. They know what they're doing, they know how they're doing it, and they're perfectly okay with that. But then there will be people who they don't realize what they're doing necessarily. It's like the people that I was just talking about. There's a few, like legit, there's like 3 or 4 people right now who want me to hop on the phone with them for 30 to 60 minutes so that they can tell me about what happened 5 years in the past, you know? And it's like, yo, I don't want to do that, man. Like, those people don't realize what they're doing. What it is they view me as a dependable friend. And that's the thing, is when you're dependable, people depend on you for stuff. And they don't depend on you to like do things like accept a bunch of money. They don't depend on you to do the things that they want to do. They depend on you to be there to be a scratching post or to do the things that they don't want to do. And those things, they don't want to do them because they're not fun, they're not interesting, or they're just things that they feel are best suited for somebody else, and you know they're gonna pass that on to whoever they can, you know. What was I gonna say? Man, that fucking thing in my tooth. Be very careful about who you allow to take up your time, your energy, and who you spend resources on, whether it's physical resources or if it's more ethereal resources like time, time, energy, things like that. You got to be careful not to put yourself in the place that I'm in right now, because I'm off from work and the gym for a week and I still am tired. I still am stressed out because there's so many people that view me as their rock that even when I am not working, I'm literally sitting around bored most of the day. I'm like, what am I even going to do? What should I do? Like, that's how I'm spending most of my days. And then I game until like 4 a.m. and then I go to bed and I wake up between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. That's how I've been spending this week off, is what's been happening. Even doing that, I'm still getting hit up from people who are like, hey man, can we hop on a call? Because I want to tell you about that thing that this person said to me 20 years ago that I still am not over, and I want to talk about it and try and figure out. I want to use you as my therapist. It's like, fucking A. Like, get out of my face. you know? But yeah. If you don't own property by 30, you better own some by 31. Yeah, like, own property as early as you can. That's a good one. Just tuning in, Scott, trying to not let dumb traumatic crap that's happened to me personally get to me too much. Training very hard in jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, swimming helps a lot mentally though. Yeah, and that's the problem with a lot of these people is like there's a difference between like hey, you asked, so I'm going to tell you the story, and like, oh, I want to trauma dump on you. I have both of those in my inbox right now. From like fucking 5 people, And but like the people who are like, I want to trauma dump, hey, can I get on a call with you so that I can tell you about how like I'm still mad about that thing that you weren't even involved in, like you had nothing to do with it, like the people who do that, they don't really have hobbies. They don't have anything that they do. Their hobby is like trying to run from the trauma. Is like that's their whole personality, is like, I went to college and I shouldn't have gone. I got involved in this thing and it wasted my time. And then there's this and that and this and that. And it's like, yo, like fucking, you think I don't have things that I look at and I'm like, damn, I wish I did that differently. Of course I do. I'm dealing with a failed MMA career because of things that I should have done and should not have done that didn't come through for me. Like I have my regrets as well, you know? And it's just like fuck, man, fucking A. Scott, how do you feel about the state of the world right now? Actually, more serious, is Kung Fu a serious martial art on its own for defense and offense? Well, I mean, Kung Fu is an umbrella of a bunch of different martial arts and systems and things like that. Like, for instance, Sanda is Kung Fu. Sanda is good. But I know you mean like the whoo, whoo type shit. Um, and I mean, not really. Not really. I figure fucking I figured this is common knowledge by now, but how do you feel about the state of the world right now? I mean, the world has always been shitty. It's always been full of like bad people doing bad things. Um it sucks that like things have accelerated to the point that they have. I wish the economy was a little bit better. But people talk about collapses, they talk about civil wars and stuff like that. There isn't going to be a collapse and there isn't going to be a civil war. That's not the way that's going to work. Excuse me. Uh, yeah, that's just what the powers that be that are trying to herd us like cattle are going to do. Is they're going to set up this decades, this generations, this in some cases centuries long plan. They're going to set up this centuries long plan where there's going to be people in this plan who they will live and die without seeing the plan come to fruition, but they will help to move the needle a little bit, and because of that they'll be heroes of the plan, but they won't ever get to they're planting a tree that they won't ever get to enjoy the fruit or the shade of. The people who are involved in this plan, they definitely made an allotment for a civil war. They definitely were sitting around the table going, yes, and when we get the goyim to embrace OnlyFans and microplastics and a surveillance state and all this other stuff, we'll have to make sure to include a civil war in there so that they have a fair shake to try and stop us. Yeah, that's how. Yeah, that's definitely how that meeting went. That's how that meeting went for sure. Yes, we're going to create a financial collapse that'll make it so we no longer control anything. We're definitely not going to manipulate anything and everything we can at all times to ensure that we remain in control all the time. We're going to give the Goyim a fair shake, is what's going to happen. Yeah, fucking right. Thank you very much, Juan Guzman, for the $20. Thank you so much for that, man. Thank you. I've been getting donations lately. Thank you guys so much for the donations. I appreciate the hell out of that. Thank you guys. Thank you. And I'll read that. I'll read that second. I'll read that other comment from Dismodu in a second. Dismodu. Scott, have you thought about monetizing your time to counsel? You're not licensed, but you might as well monetize it. A lot of your advice or perspective can be useful, even if it's just a rant, be a call-in radio station. LOL. Yeah, I mean, like that's part of what I was trying to do when I first started streaming. Was I wanted people to call in, I wanted people to donate and ask for advice and stuff like that. I wanted to monetize based around my understanding of the world and my ability to break down problems and find a solution to them, and my experiences having made the wrong decisions and trying to help people to not make the same decisions that I made. But unfortunately, I don't have the personality for that. I appreciate the 112 people that have watched me today. Thank you all for being here, as well as the 10 or 12 people that are here concurrently right this second. But I don't have a mass appeal, and it's because I am not a psycho. You know, I'm not someone who's gonna say the N word all the time. I'm not someone who's gonna parrot a political philosophy that I don't 100% agree with or find to be um, useful in that moment. I'm not gonna. I'm not. I'm in it to win it. I'm in it to win it, and most people are not in it to win it. Most people are in it to feel good. They're in it to try and feel like they got away with being able to say the N-word to somebody is what it is. A lot of people are just working through some kind of insecurity or some kind of trauma. Me, I'm able to separate any trauma that I have, any negative feelings that I have towards my mommy from my personal and public life. I don't need to do things because my mommy was mean to me when I was a child. But a lot of people, they do things because mommy or daddy was a little bit mean to them when they were children. And that's why someone like me will not get big. Even Sam, like Sam and I agree and we think the same way on a lot of different things. But Sam understands that he has to shuck and jive a little bit. He has to do a song and a dance, you know. He's got to drop an N-word every now and again to get people to pay attention because he knows he's dealing with people who they want keys jangled. They want keys jangled in their face. They want bang keys. They want keys jangled, you know? And because of that, he'll jangle the keys before and after, and sometimes even during the advice that he's giving. Me, I'm not a key jangler, you know. Even in my jujitsu class, right? I've gotten to a point, and this might just be because I'm sick of the place, but like I've gotten to a point where it's like the kids that are gonna listen are gonna listen. I recognize that there is something to those kids that is special. They're probably part of a higher caste. The kids that don't listen, I like them. I love all the kids in the class, but like I mean, different aptitudes, different ceilings that they're going to achieve. And me, uh, I'm embracing aristocracy a little bit more, where it's like I will say something, and if you don't get it, maybe it's because you weren't meant to get it. Maybe it's because you don't. It's not that you don't need it. It's just that like no matter how I say it, you're not going to actually take the lesson and use it. Maybe maybe that's the deal, you know? But yeah, like if I could find a way to monetize my advice, if I could find a way to monetize my voice like that, you know, I would do that, you know, whether it was like some kind of unofficial therapist thing, which I don't even know if that's legal, or if it was like a radio show, or you know, if I could find a way to make these appealing to people, or if I could you know, if there was some way, like I would do that. I would definitely do that, you know. But again, thank you very much for the 20, Juan. I appreciate that, my friend. Um, Scott, what's the best type of cross training for combat sports in your opinion? When you say cross training, you mean like do you mean like what martial arts should you cross train? If so, then it's boxing and wrestling. It's boxing and wrestling is what it is. Um, Scott, does the Middle East or northern areas of that region have any martial arts that are well known as Asian and Brazilian? No. They have martial arts, but they're not, you know, they're not as well known. Every society has martial arts because the thing is we have a habit of thinking martial arts are like Asian. You know, they're Asian in nature, but what does martial art mean? Martial means Mars or war, of war, of or relating to war is what martial means. Um, Art, you know, it's actually art is a little bit more ethereal or ephemeral or I don't even think either of those words. I don't think either of those words, you know, are the right words that I was trying to utilize. But art, general concept that creates expressive work for its beauty or emotional power. So you know, it's got nothing to do with like China or Japan or anything like that. It's got to do with uh the martial or the warlike expression, you know, if you will. Some people would call it a science as well, you know, or something else like that, you know. But yeah. Um, there's definitely martial arts from Africa and Arabia. Like there definitely are. Men other exercises like running, lifting, etc. That's a tough one. I'm not too sure. When I get ready for fights, I usually do sprints. I usually do Tabata, um cadence, or not cadence, tempo isn't the word either. I'll do like 10-second sprint, 20-second rest. Rest meaning like a jog. So 10-second of sprint, 20-second of jog, and then each time I do it, the sprint gets a little bigger, the jog gets a little shorter. Um and like that's one of the best non like direct training ways to improve your gas tank is wind sprints of that nature, you know. Also, most traditional martial arts aren't even a century old exactly, you know. Like combat combat was an aristocratic pursuit for generations in almost all cultures. The most successful cultures guarded the ideas and the concept of combat, whether it was armed or unarmed. And you would use both armed and unarmed techniques. They would be passed down from teacher to student, and you had to be of a certain caste. You had to be of a certain station. That's what the knights were. That's what the samurai were. There's this bullshit, I don't know where it came from, but there's this bullshit myth that karate was developed by farmers to fight the samurai because the samurai were being big old meanies. No, karate was developed in Okinawa after they got a hold of Chinese martial arts that were utilized by Chinese warriors. Not the peasants, not the farmers, Chinese warriors. And guess who made karate out of that? Okinawan warriors, their warrior aristocracy. And then who took not even necessarily karate, but like talking about karate specifically, but like there are other forms of fighting when it came to Japan that were guarded and passed down by teachers who were usually affiliated with a certain noble line or some other aspect of nobility. Um, that's who did that shit. It was never like the farmers taking their tools to try and fight a samurai. If you try to fight a samurai with a garden hoe, you're going to get sliced in half. You're going to die. You're not going to I'm sorry, but there is no way a samurai is going to draw his katana and you're gonna pick up a gardening hoe, or like the sai that they say was like, oh, it was like a trowel almost, the way they used to use those things. You're not gonna pick up one of those things and beat a samurai who has a sword that was specifically designed to kill as quickly and as efficiently as possible. That's not the way that works. I'm sorry to say. It's like a lot of it is democracy. A lot of it is the democratization of a lot of different things, not just our governments, but also the way we think about things. We have been colonized by this false sense of everybody being equal when we're not. God does not bestow his gifts equally. That's not the way it works. We are all different, and that includes spiritually. God instills his favor in different people for different reasons so that they go on to do different things. That's the way it works. It's biblical that that's the way it works. God's favor was literally passed down through bloodlines, and that specific bloodline, I believe it was I think it was Jacob took Esau's favor. Like God's favor was instilled in Esau, and Esau was so hungry after a day of work in the field, he gave God's favor to Jacob for red lentil stew. He literally sold his favor to Jacob for some red lentil stew, and Jacob was now carrying God's favor. So he carried the tradition, if you will. It's the bottom line is we are not the same. And different people are going to be capable of different things because God bestowed that capability in them. And we used to have an understanding of this. Even in non-Christian cultures, there was an understanding of this, i.e., the Japanese, you know? And because of that, not just any old fucking asshole was allowed to carry a sword and know how to use it, you know? A lot of people don't realize that, you know. Not everybody deserves to have a say. Not everybody deserves to know certain things. Not everybody deserves to have the ability to do certain things. And if you can't get over that, then you're longhoused and you don't realize it, you know. We think of the longhouse as like hen pecking women and letting your wife fuck another dude and letting your country be debased by foreigners coming in and taking your fucking money and shit like that. Like, yes, that's all part of the longhouse, but the other part of the longhouse is accepting that even if it is just white boy democracy, even if it is like a country of literally 100% white people, there aren't even black people that visit from time to time. Democracy is still a bad thing. Democracy will always lead to the debasement of a culture in some way, shape, or form. You know, and that's something that a lot of the that's something that a lot of um what's it called that's something that a lot of like white nationalist motherfuckers, they think like the secret is just to have white people, and it's like, no, it doesn't matter what the race is. Democracy will always lead to the degradation of a nation. It's just the way it is. How many non-Greeks had the ability to vote in Athens, specifically non-Athenians? The only way you could be a citizen is if your dad was a citizen. It was literally like you got in on the ground floor of Athens or you were not a citizen. That's it. And yet their city state still imploded under the weight of democracy. It's funny how that works, you know? Anyway. Oh, man. Jeez. Scott, not expecting you to understand the pinnacle of fighting scenarios, but why do you think pro fighters who are in the UFC don't give it their all, like the ones who miss weight or just don't seem to really want it in general? I mean, there's I'm going to answer this, and I'm probably going to head on out. I'm probably going to skedaddle, but there's a lot of aspects of fighting that people don't really get. There's a lot of pieces of fighting, both mentally and physically, that like you wouldn't even know about. A good example is a weight cut, right? Like, for instance, Khamzat Chimaev, he had a disastrous weight cut. He actually missed weight. Unofficially, he missed weight, but officially he made weight because as it appears, I'm not saying this is definitely it, but as it appears, either the UFC or the state athletic commission that they were in, they rigged it so that they could pretend like Hamzat made weight. A terrible weight cut will have a severe effect on your ability to perform the next day. What's it called? You have a bad week. Like, you get into an argument with your girlfriend and like it just is like nuclear and stuff like that. All of a sudden you're not thinking about the fight for however long, you're thinking about your girlfriend. Like there's so many things that go into fighting that people don't see and they don't even consider. You could stub your toe on fight day just the right way that like it causes a cramp in your foot that hinders your ability to use your foot how you usually would, and because of that you end up getting like 10-9 when you should have won that fight, right? There's so many things that could happen, and the idiot looks at things and they go, oh, fucking excuses, and it's like, yeah, like they're good excuses. I mean, maybe the stub your toe thing is like that's borderline, but like if you're not there mentally and if you're not there physically, you're going to see that in the performance. That's just the way it's going to happen. That's the way it's going to go. So, sometimes it's not that somebody doesn't want it. Sometimes that's about as good as they can do. That's about as good as they can get, as good as they can be, But yeah, anyway. Excuse me, geez. I am going to hit that dusty trail. I want to say thank you, everybody. I appreciate you for coming in today. I should be streaming, if not just Friday, then it will probably be tomorrow too. But we're gonna see how that works. We're gonna see how that works out. One last time, thank you all. Thank you very much, Juan Guzman, for the donation as well. I appreciate that. Yeah, and until next time, peace out.
Suck Sullivan, don't mess with his load, or you will get undone. Spinning round and round, bleeding on the ground. Scotty Rocker, laundry killer, no remorse in this beamer. Fabric assassin, hood cleaner, coming for your Rasta queen. Rape on the washing machine, no use to fight back. MMA, knock your nigga head like a KKK. Hush your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smokes. Me running really, really fast. Ginger eye round the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. No use to fight back. MMA, knock your nigga head like a KKK. Hush your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smoke. Me running really, really fast. Ginger eye on the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Oh, close, smoke. Me running really, really fast. Ginger eye on the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. Or you will get turned out. No, 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 no. Suck Sullivan, queen. Rape on the washing machine. No use to fight back. MMA, knock your nigga head like a KKK. Hush your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smoke. Me running really, really fast. Ginger eye round the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. Assassin, hood cleaner, coming for your Rasta queen. Rape on the washing machine. No use to fight back. MMA, knock your nigga head like a KKK. Hush your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smoke. Me running really, really fast. Ginger eye on the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist.